Howdy, it is I, Junk, back again so soon in the wee small hours of Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day if you're watching this then. And I've got another video where the gameplay is just a bunch of things getting blown up, but we talk a bit about Behemoth play and how it works and doesn't work. I want to add to that a little bit here before we get into it, but even before that, you'll notice that in the hangar there, when I'm playing that game, there is this little guy who doesn't actually come out to play. And he'll have a Kestrel on him there. The Cossack, which is mostly the same except for the explosives expert skill, and the ultimate Orkan, which I got one of and maxed because, of course I did. Do you know me at all? What did I spend to get it? Let's talk about that. I spent about 250,000 gold, and I think in money it ended up translating to... Well, let me back up. I spent about 250,000 gold to win it. And then it was another 50,000 to max it and 4 Dorito tokens. All told, it was like $65 out the door, I think, is what I actually spent. Now, here's the thing. The kicker is I got lucky. Because I've watched AD Gaming's video where he spent $1 million on spins on his Battle Rec account and got one. Spent 100,000 on his personal account, didn't get one at all. And that's for exactly one Orkan. And what are you going to do with one Orkan, really? I put it on a Cossack because you got one medium weapon. Put it on the thing with one medium weapon. Also, it's kind of funny seeing the world's teeny tiniest robot carrying the deadliest thing the game has to offer so far. I like the juxtaposition, man. Okay? I have not actually managed to get a kill with it or attempted to. I will notice it's 2/3 the health of a Crisis, so how bad can it be compared to a Crisis? What I'm actually probably going to try to do with it is I'll put it on a mender like a mohawk and then put some like piñatas around it or something. I don't know. We're going to mess around. We're going to have some fun with it. I am not going to try to win anymore, I think. Yeah, I don't think I need any more right now. It's... The amount of money is asinine. The amount of time is asinine. And the fact that I've participated in the culture which I loathe is forcing me to even pushing me further towards other games. But every time I try them, I'm gravely disappointed. I know I told Wolfsblood I think I was going to try My Singing Monsters and I didn't. Maybe I'll try My Singing Monsters. If you've got other games I should try, leave them in the comments. I know people said there was like a Minecraft server, but it looks like the Minecraft server got shut down or something. I don't know. I never played Minecraft. I played Terratech, which I know is not the same thing, but it's crafting and resource collection, so I call it the same genre, not the same game. But anyway, yeah, Ultimate Orkan, giant scam, and I can't imagine... I haven't seen a single Ultimate Spectre, which says a lot about how much it must cost, because you see people with some pretty expensive builds out there, and not a single Ultimate Spectre with Ultimate Orkans hopping around. That's scary. So yeah, I want to talk about that. I want to talk a little bit more about the Behemoth and counterplay to a Behemoth. I have so many of these Mark III, and I put 3 Mark II. I don't understand what I'm doing with my life. Anyway, I will figure that out later. But yeah, the Behemoth counterplay point I wanted to make is I talked about in the prior video that I see a lot of people roll up to me in Skyros and then deploy and then get microwaved to death by the lasers, and the only way it ever works is if I actually don't see you, which is going to be hard to do if I'm standing in the corner, which I'm going to try to do, right? If I'm the Behemoth. So you can get me if I'm out walking around, but most of the time that's not going to be the case. You can do it in Springfield if I'm on the edge of the platform where the home beacons are, shooting into center, and you spawn at your home and you roll around the back. I don't know why I'm telling you how to get rid of me, but yeah, that can sometimes work. I've been taken out that way before. But generally speaking, Skyros versus Behemoth is not a good matchup. If you're finding a problem with these laser Behemoths, the thing that is absolutely the scariest, the most annoying, that is hardest to answer for in this kind of a Behemoth setup, it's a Mars with the laser weapons. And especially if you've got a phase shift, because you duel back and forth a little bit as you run towards, using the phase shift so that you don't take that much damage, and all you need to do is deploy your turret in range and hide. The Behemoth, it's possible to dodge the turret if you fold up your weapons and you've got the legendary pilot, you can then dodge side to side from the turret. But the problem with that is dodging side to side from the turret means you're leaving cover in a vulnerable state because you don't have the defense bonus from being deployed. So you can die just as fast dodging the turret as you can letting the turret chew you up. And if they can do that 3 times in a row, they'll take out your behemoth. I promise you. The only way, and I've had to do this to save myself, is like look for anybody I can shoot at to load up my mothership and hope the paladin gives me enough shield to eat some of the turret. And then hope someone takes out that Mars. So if I was going to build a Mars designed to take out behemoths like this, it would be the, what are they, Yoe or whatever the medium lasers are. Medium lasers, last stand as one of the passive mods, and a phase shift as the active mod, and then, glider. I will hate you so much if you do it to me, but I promise you, you will chew up behemoths like that with one of those in your hangar. So if you find people like me are making trouble for people like you, that's the build that I think is most anti-behemoth. A couple more things that won't work. Everybody seems to think that the harpies and sirens will work. As you've seen many times, I just shoot right through the reflectors. They don't hurt that much. Take them right out. In fact, a lot of times I end up with more health because I'll charge the paladin up by virtue of doing that. So don't mess with the weather chickens. Don't mess with the Skyros. Scorpion is kind of the same problem as the Skyros. If you can get there without me seeing you, you can do some damage, but it's actually slightly worse because I am going to at some point notice that I'm half dead and turn around, and what do you do then? Unless you can teleport back, that's the end of your Scorpion. So, yeah, I'd say the Mars is your best bet. So let's get into some gameplay here. I have some thoughts you'll hear about on the Behemoth. Its value to gameplay. It's very high level, kind of like 30,000 foot stuff, but it's helpful if you watch the game. Sometimes you get wrapped up in the mechanics of what's happening, and you really need to also think about the metagame. And I don't mean the metagame about what's the meta. I mean meta in its original classical sense of like the game behind the game. What's actually happening? What is motivating the mechanics you're seeing? And how do you use the Behemoth as a tool to change the motivations of other people in the field? So let's get into it. We're dropping in onto the valley. You can see I've got the meme Cossack in the lineup, but it does not make an appearance. Don't get your hopes up. I wish it did. And I thought I'd start out with the links, something to, grab a beacon really quickly. I think let's talk a lot about the Behemoth and a little bit about the Luchador in this, because the gameplay is going to be a lot of what you would expect when I say something is a lot of Behemoth gameplay. So hopefully I can offer some insight during those times. I saw nobody took their home, so I thought maybe with the links I could come over and grab it, but of course early on those bots are going to die early. If I had tried this halfway through the game, I might have had some luck, but in the early part of the game, those early bots die. And they're going to spawn in at home because they're going to see when that map comes up that there's someone trying to creep on it. Fortunately, I drop in my Behemoth and you start getting a little bit of revenge here really early on. Taking care of the bots that took care of me, and now offering some fire support when the Feather Destrier Seraph drops in. And the other Feather Destrier Seraph drops in. Still seeing a lot of these robots and I still don't get it. They're great in PvE mode, but this isn't PvE mode. So obviously the perch where I'm on now is one of the great Behemoth target spots, ranged sniper spots in the game. I think people know most of the easy and obvious ones. Notoriously, I love the platforms on the Abyss. Springfield, anywhere along the edge, along those spawning in beacons, and actually that the Dam beacon, another great sniper spot if you're on that side of the map. There's some kind of low-key great sniper spots, and one of them is on this map, which is in center. And actually, I like the Upper Deccan Moon for the same reasons. And it just has a lot to do with expectations and the psychology of the game, where you expect to find a bot down there, but the bot you don't expect to find is a Behemoth. So it's pretty rare that the bot that happens to go under there is prepared to encounter a Behemoth. It's usually something fast, and it's usually not something super, super beefy. So you can get some decent kills there. So right now, what we're actually doing here is the most important thing that the Behemoth can do. It's not so much the kills, It's the area denial, which I think I've talked about at times before. The psychology of War Robot. It sounds weird to talk about the psychology of a robot shooting game, but there is psychology to it. And the most important thing the Behemoth can do is make sure that Reds know anytime they're not in cover within the eye line of the Behemoth, they're under fire. And that anxiety will force them to change their game, and changing their game will give your team the advantage to play the game they want to play. So it really is hard to think of it this way until you've seen a lot of games, but the Behemoth can be doing its most important job while shooting no one, because it's just making it too dangerous for people to move in the way they want to move. Now, since someone dropped in with a Behemoth here as well, I'm going to start to edge to the left, try to open up space, get different types of coverage, and eventually I'll hop down here, but it's going to take a minute because I start seeing I can offer some help to the left beacons. Maybe the thing I love most about the laser Behemoth is just taking out sirens and harpies and not thinking about it. I have been terrorized by those weather chickens since they came out, and the opportunity to render them useless is too enticing to ignore. But as you can see, like right now, we have really contained the red team. Nobody wants to be where the two Behemoths are going to shoot them. So, very effective containment, and the Behemoths are really working very well right now. But because we've got a guy up on there and we don't need two, I'm going to start walking towards center, which, like I said, is my second favorite spot for the Behemoth to snipe from, because no one's really looking for it. A lot of the game is about subverting expectations, because a lot of the game comes down to like a rock, paper, scissors kind of thing. You know, if they're using stealth, do you have quantum radar? If you're using shields, do they have shield breaker? This kind of rock, paper, scissors of who's got the weapon with a slightly bigger range, who's got the weapon with a slightly bigger effect, who's got the robot that's a little bit faster. If you can convince people what they need is speed, and you show up with power and what they needed was power, you can rock, paper, scissors your way to a bunch of kills and a bunch of wins. So there's very high-level psychology, I know, but this is true. You can see I'm being very effective down here because just no one's looking to see a Behemoth under center. It's just not a thing that you regularly run into. So I'm feeling pretty good at this point that, one, we've contained them for a very long time, and two, we've taken out quite a few robots while they were in that corner. I don't know exactly how many, but my just sense of the game, I have this sense that they've got to be getting close to some people meching. And now Luchador comes in to help make sure that happens. A lot of this is luck. Jumping up here was very dangerous, and if that had been a full health Rook behind me, that would have been the end of the Luchador, but it was a half-health Indra. Indra versus Luchador, you know, when they're both using bubbles, I'd say that's about a 50-50 matchup. But a half-health Indra versus a close to full-health Luchador, clearly I've got the advantage and I'm going to press it. I don't want him to have time to regroup or think things through. And now we have our man Saul here in a Fenrir. He's going to play a little peekaboo, but it is a game he cannot win because he doesn't have any team support over here right now. And sooner or later, the Luchador is going to jump. And when the Luchador jumps, he can't move fast enough to get out of the way. So get him moving, jump, and erase. Nothing he could have done. That's not his fault. And you can see at this point, obviously, the Reds have deduced they're in some grave, grave danger. I'm looking forward to trying the freeze rockets on the Luchador, but I sincerely doubt they're going to replace the bubbles. I mean, how much more damage could they do? Freezing is annoying, but especially in a Luchador, you know, restricting movement. You can only restrict movement on something that's alive, and if you can take them out with the bubbles, why not do that? Well, target priority, we all have to switch to the Mender. That's, you know, good basic War Robots play. Take out the healers. That's good any play. Take out the healers first. And courage to our brave Ravana friend, but he had no chance. And now, as it's all over but the crying, we're just here to get the extra cap. Game over. And yeah, no trouble with that. Very easy, 15 kills, 5 beacons, 7.9 million damage. I'll go through some of the pilots, I just click on the players just because I want to see, was I playing against like masters? What happened here? And no, it's a lot of champions. In fact, they've got more champions than we do. I think we had like 3, and they had like 5. So what happened? I would attribute it to, good containment, honestly, not to pat myself on the back too much, but that area denial, forcing them to get up in their heads and play in one corner over and over again. And then bringing in the luchador to mop up. That's kind of how it's done. So, thank you for making it to the end. If you're a dog or cat at home alone, I'm sure your parents will be back soon, and they'll be bringing you treats. Until next time, later.